Welcome to the HCSIS Investigations module, training for area office, facility, and regional office staff. My name is Mike Lation with the DDS training team, and I'll be your facilitator for today's training. Before we begin, this training is designed to cover system changes relevant to area office, facility, and regional office staff. If you are part of the DDS Central Office Investigations, there is a separate training for you. Our training today will cover system changes rather than business process changes, so please reach out to your supervisor if you have any questions about business processes in the meantime. Here is an overview for how our training will progress. We will begin with a brief introduction to this training and release. Then we will move on to the core sections, starting with the intake, stage 1 and stage 2 letters, administrative review, and direct to complaint resolution team. The second half of this training will consist of action plan and the resolution letter, updated documents and forms, and management reports. Lastly, we will close with discussing Go Live and additional resources and next steps. Many of these sections will contain system walkthroughs, screenshots, or a combination of both. Please note that the processes we will cover today are not exhaustive of all investigation functions you can perform in HCSIS. Our focus is on the functionalities that will have changes. Now that we've discussed the training, let's dive into it. Today, we have several learning objectives for you. By the end of this training, you will be able to utilize new screens, such as the intake/case search screen and the administrative review extension screen. Generate new and updated management reports, such as the action plan/resolution status report and the investigations case listing report. You will discern different go-live scenarios and how to prepare for them, and you will be able to identify helpful resources to master the HCSIS system. As you are probably aware, investigations is a submodule of the quality management module within HCSIS. The yellow boxes in the third row are the specific steps that will be covered within this training. Steps not listed here will be covered in a separate training that is for Central Office Investigations Management and staff. The goals of the investigations module improvements are to facilitate easier completion of investigations activities. These activities improve efficiencies in data documentation in support of DDS's mission. Some of these benefits include a streamlined user experience, new document integration, and increased data integrity. These enhancements will be covered in more detail throughout our training. The first section we will cover today is intakes. You all will not be directly impacted by the new intake changes, but we still wanted to make you aware that the intake file will be uploaded as both a CSV and a PDF file. As area, facility, and regional staff, you will continue to have access to view a redacted version of the intake from the printable summary screen in HCSIS. Please note that changes to the system will be denoted in yellow throughout this training deck. The intake and case search screens have been combined into one screen to make it easier to search for information regarding both a case and an intake. When you enter a unique identifier for a case, like the case log number or intake number, you will be taken directly to the case's switchboard and have access to current and historical forms and notices. If a non-unique identifier like investigations office is used, then a list of all related cases based on filter criteria will appear below the intake/case search box. Now we will switch to our first walkthrough in HCSIS to use the intake/case search screen and to view redacted intakes using the printable summary screen. From the HCSIS home screen, click the QM tab, followed by the Investigations tab. We will now use the new intake/case search screen to search for our case. For some of you who work on the ISP module in HCSIS, you may recognize that the look and feel of the screens in this training are similar to ISP. The intake/case search screen also shares many similarities to the process management screen. Cases that meet the filter criteria will be listed below the table on the screen. On the other hand, if you have the case log number or intake number, you can use that to be taken directly to the cases switchboard. We can search for a specific case using a unique identifier or more general search parameters like Investigations Office. For our case, we'll go ahead and enter the intake 996450 and search for it. This is taking us directly to the cases switchboard because we used one of the case's unique identifiers. Above the switchboard are a series of tabs related to the case. We will click on the Printable Summary tab to view the redacted intake. We are now on the Printable Summary screen. For some users, the PDF version of the DPPC intake file is available to download in this section. It is located above the redacted intake files. Our user does have access to view the PDF version of the intake, but we will not be viewing it for this section of the training. For now, we will focus on the redacted intake file. We would have to choose the intake based on our redaction type. Since the user I am logged in as is aligned to the Berkshire area office, we will click on the view link for area, facility, and region redaction type. Here, we can view information related for the DPPC intake, the alleged victim, provider, location of abuse. For the reporter information, we could not view any due to our redaction type, but if we keep scrolling, we can view information for the guardian, allegation, and information related to the alleged abuser. When you are completing various tasks for a case in HCSIS, you can use this page as a reference point for valuable information. Now that we reviewed the printable summaries in the intake/case search screen, let's return to our presentation. The next section covers stage 1 and stage 2 letters. This table lists which disposition types may contain stage 1 and stage 2 letters. Note that the disposition types dismissed and referred to other agency would only be applicable to stage 1 letters, as the case would not progress beyond that point. The roles listed on the bottom of the slide have access to edit and generate the stage 1 letters. Please take a moment to review them now. The core process to complete the stage 1 letters will not be changing. You will still use the switchboard to access the screen and generate the letters after the disposition is entered by the senior investigator. The stage 1 letter screen has been enhanced to assist you in entering information for different involved parties. We will discuss this in more detail later in this section. Once you have completed the mandatory fields for the involved party or parties, you will select which you want to generate the letters for. This will generate the letters locally to your computer, which you can use to send to select involved parties. Stage 1 letters and its contents now have an updated header and arrangement. We will dive into these details further when we walk through the screen in the system. The roles listed on the bottom of the slide have access to edit and generate the stage 2 letters. Please take a moment to review them now. The Stage 2 letter screens and templates will be receiving the same enhancements as the Stage 1 letters to ensure that the screen and templates are standardized. As you are probably aware, the disposition selected for the case will dictate the flow in HCSIS and what forms will become available to generate. This is noted in the first box, where 3 possible scenarios would enable the Stage 2 letters to be created, based on the disposition selected. Following this, you would then make any necessary edits to the involved parties on the screen and select which involved parties to generate letters for, just as you would do for Stage 1 letters. The screens for the Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters will have new additions, like the Quick Edit button, that we will see in the walkthrough to reduce the time it takes to complete the screen. Overall, the Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters' core functionality is not changing. Now let's go ahead and view these changes in HCSIS. From the switchboard, you would click the link under the Stage 1 letters header to be taken to the Stage 1 letters screen. This is the enhanced Stage 1 letters screen. Here we can view each linked involved party's title, name, involved party designation, date of notification, if their letter was suppressed, and the last time letters were generated for that involved party. You may also click a checkbox to the far right to generate documents for that involved party. If you need to change the title, name, and/or notification date for any involved party listed, you may do so by clicking the new Quick Edit button. Now these fields within the table are editable, and you may make any adjustments needed. For this involved party, we will change their title, name, and notification date to show this functionality. Now that we've updated the fields, I can click Save to save my changes and edit out of the editing table. If you wish to view or edit all prompts for a specific involved party, you can do so by clicking their associated View/Edit link. Now you can view this involved party's Stage 1 letters information and make any edits if needed. Again, click Save to save any changes you made to the involved party's information, or hit Cancel to keep the information as is and exit the View/Edit for the selected involved party. For this involved party, we will make a change to their description box and hit Save. Unique to the Stage 2 letters screen, you also have an option to add a provider. Let's enter the Stage 2 letters screen by clicking its tab. We can add an other provider by clicking the Add Other Provider button. Here, you can enter information about a provider you wish to link to the case. To add a new provider, you will be required to fill out the mandatory fields. In this case, it would be name, address, city, zip code, notification date, and description. We've already started entering this information, and we will continue to fill out all mandatory fields. Now we can click Save and Continue to add our new provider to the Stage 2 letters. As we can see at the bottom of the table, our new provider has been added to the case. To generate documents for the selected involved parties, we can click the individual parties we wish to generate letters for, or generate all letters simultaneously by clicking the checkbox in the blue header column. For our case, let's generate letters for only the alleged victim and the other provider. And click Generate Documents. The files have now been downloaded locally to my computer. We will view the updated templates for both Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters when we return to our deck. If we wanted to view the generated Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters for involved parties, we can do so in the Stage 1/Stage 2 letters tab. Here, we can view the most current generated Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters sent out to involved parties. To view historical Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters, we would click on the View Historical button in the top right side of the screen. This screen will include all Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters that have been previously generated for this case, even if there was a disposition change. Both Stage 1 letters and Stage 2 letters have been previously generated for this case. The name and involved party are displayed in the table for parties that have previously generated letters. By clicking the plus icon to the left of their name, you can view the notification date as well as the dates the letters were generated. We could use this to compare different generated letters for a case. Now we will return to the deck to discuss the changes to the Stage 1 and 2 letters template. This is an image of the updated Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters template. The design and language used here will be adopted for all letters following the release. Additionally, the header on the top of the template has received a new style, and this will become the standardized letterhead. The highlighted areas of the template will pre-populate with the information from the case. Fields such as the date and case log fields have been moved to improve the overall formatting of the letter. The section of the Stage 2 letters that contains the decision letter and details action steps for action plans or resolution letters has also been updated to better reflect documentation from the case. The areas highlighted in green have been added into this section. The section will have the allegation summary listed prior to the action steps for the involved parties reference. Based on the disposition selected, the letter will say either action plan or resolution letter in the section before the action steps. To help the involved party understand what actions need to be taken, the action steps will be listed sequentially in the section of the letter. Each action step will include the date the action is due and which responsible party is tasked with completing that action. If the sender for the Stage 1 or Stage 2 letters needs to be changed for a case, you can use the notification sender screen to edit their information for both letters. Additionally, You can also edit the information for the program monitor for the Stage 2 letters. This can be done by the Area/Facility Director Designee, Area Office Designee, and the ABI MFP Risk Managers. If you would like to learn more about this screen or other topics covered in this webinar, see the Area, Facility, and Regional Unit User Guide for more information. The screenshot on this slide highlights how to navigate to the Notification Sender screen. First, you would click on the Tools tab, then click on the Investigations Utilities tab located on the far right, followed by the Notification Senders tab to enter the screen. Once you are on the Notification Sender screen, you can view the information for the Stage 1 sender, Stage 2 sender, and the information for the program monitor. Clicking on the pencil icon for the corresponding sender or program monitor enables some of the fields to be edited. First name, last name, designation, phone, and extension are all editable. But information regarding address and location are not available to change. Once you make the desired edits, you can save your changes by clicking Save in the bottom left-hand corner. Let's recap what we've discussed so far. You may recall that we mentioned that the overall process to complete the Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters will not be changing. The screens and the templates have been enhanced for better user experience and to be more closely aligned to your process. Lastly, the headers for the Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters have been updated with new language. The next section will cover changes related to the administrative review or admin review. The administrative review screen is a required form for the administrative review disposition. The fraud inquiry administrative review is a new disposition coming with these system changes, but this addition will not affect your daily work. The administrative review extension screen has been added as an optional document to complete when an administrative review is at risk of being overdue or more time is needed to collect data to complete the form. It will share similarities with the investigation report extension screen. You will submit a request for an administrative review extension, and a user at the regional level is tasked with approving or denying your request. We will walk through completing an extension request at the end of this section. The roles involved at any stage of the administrative review process are listed at the bottom of this slide. Please take a moment to review them now. After the administrative review disposition is selected, the administrative review is accessed from the switchboard. The administrative review extension is completed prior to finalizing the administrative review. Additionally, the administrative review cannot be finalized if the administrative review extension has a status in progress or submitted to the regional office. Once this request is approved or denied at the regional level, the administrative review is available to be finalized. The administrative review screen prompts are not changing, but the allegation summary prompt will now be available for you to edit. It will continue to be pre-populated with information taken from other documents in this case. And now we will go back in HCSIS to view this prompt and submit an extension request. On the switchboard, we have both the link to create the administrative review as well as its extension. Let's view the allegation summary prompt in the administrative review first. The prompt has been pre-populated from documentation earlier in the case, but now you will have the option to edit this information. To show this functionality, we'll just go ahead and type example into the test field. As mentioned, all their prompts will be staying the same. Let's return to the switchboard and create the administrative review extension. Here, you must select the reason for submitting this request. You can also enter additional information related to why you submitted the request, but this is not mandatory. Once you select your reason, you must enter a new due date for the administrative review. For our case, we will enter the reason as a necessary party is unavailable and select the date as July 10th. Once these actions are completed, you may submit the request to the regional office. Again, the administrative review cannot be finalized until the regional office approves or denies this extension request. And that's the new administrative review extension. So now we'll return to our deck and move on to the next section. Let's go over section 4, which is about the Direct to Complaint Resolution Team, or Direct to CRT for short. The Direct to Complaint Resolution Team disposition will continue to be the only disposition that uses the Direct to Complaint Resolution Team screen. Multiple changes to the screen are included with this release, and we will take a deeper dive into those changes in the following slides. The Direct to Complaint Resolution Team prompt has been divided into multiple prompts to mirror the administrative review screen. This was done to provide more direction on what information should be inputted for a case when completing the screen. The roles involved in the Direct to Complaint Resolution Team process are listed on the bottom of this slide. Please take a moment to review them now. The steps leading into the Direct to Complaint Resolution Team screen will not be changing. The Direct to Complaint Resolution Team disposition will remain the only disposition that utilizes the Direct to Complaint Resolution Team screen. But the additional prompts on the screen will change how you complete it. We will view a screenshot of the new screen on the next slide. The prompts for this screen now mirror the administrative review screen and are completed in the same way. As with the administrative review, the allegation field here is editable as well. Here's a quick recap of the previous two sections. The prompts on the administrative review screen will not be changing, but the allegation summary prompt will now be editable. The administrative review extension can be completed before the administrative review screen is finalized if more time is needed. Lastly, the Direct to Complaint Resolution Team screen will now mirror the prompts on the administrative review screen. Let's move on to the action plan and the resolution letter. We will be going over the relevant dispositions for both action plans and resolution letters. The dispositions that use action plans will not be changing with these updates. These dispositions are listed in the table and consist of defer to law enforcement, DDS to investigate, defer to law enforcement DPPC to investigate, DDS to investigate, DPPC to investigate, resolve fairly and efficiently, and no dispute to the facts. The two dispositions associated with completing a resolution letter are the administrative review and Direct to Complaint Resolution Team dispositions. The screen prompts related to the action plan and resolution letter will not be changing. Instead, the screen names will be changed from action plan/resolution letter to display the form you are working on only. For example, if the case requires an action plan, then the screen will be named action plan. But if the case requires a resolution letter, then the screen will be named resolution letter. These changes will also be applied to both outcome screens as well. These changes are intended to clarify the screen you are on and the required associated forms. The roles to complete either the action plan or the resolution letter are identical and are listed at the bottom of this slide. Please take a moment to review them now. In this new process, you are able to create the action plan after the decision letter is issued. If the disposition involves a resolution letter, it can be created after the administrative review or direct to complaint resolution team forms are finalized. The link to create the forms would appear under the action plan heading or resolution letter heading based on the disposition selected on the switchboard. You will still have the option to issue or unissue the letters prior to completing the action steps and finalizing the associated outcome screen. Again, note that the prompts on the screen will not change, but the screen names will reflect the form you are working on. The copy from existing action plan or resolution letter button already exists as a utility tool within HCSIS, but it has been moved onto both the action plan and resolution letter screens. You can use this functionality to take action steps from another case and insert them into the case you are currently working on by inputting the case log number into the copy action plan and resolution letter pop-up. This action will not overwrite any action steps that have already been added to the case you are working on. You may also copy action steps from a resolution letter to an action plan and from an action plan to a resolution letter. This is intended to save you time while completing similar action plans or resolution letters. Now let's discuss the unissue action plan or resolution letter functionality. This functionality already existed in HCSIS prior to this release. It can be utilized when additional action steps or edits are required for the action plan or resolution letter after it is issued. This button will replace the issue button on the action plan or resolution letter screen after either screen has been issued. There is no limit to the amount of times an action plan or resolution letter can be issued or unissued. You cannot reissue the form after the screen is finalized, except by using the appeals process, reconsideration process, or utility tool. We will show both screenshots of the new action plan and resolution letter screens. These screenshots demonstrate that the screens now reflect either the action plan or resolution letter. Additionally, the copy from action plan or resolution letter button is shown on the upper right side of the screen. We will demonstrate this functionality in a walkthrough later on in this section. Here's the action plan outcome screen and the resolution letter outcome screen. The screen names for both have been updated to reflect each form. Now let's go into HCSIS and show you the new resolution letter screen and demonstrate the copy from existing action plan or resolution letter function. Now let's click the link under the resolution letter heading on the switchboard to enter the resolution letter screen. To pull in action steps from an existing case, click the Copy from Existing Action Plan or Resolution Letter button in the upper right-hand side of the screen to open the Copy From pop-up. Now we would input the case log number from the case you want to copy from and click Confirm. The action steps from the existing case have been now added to our case. We can now add more action steps, view or edit the existing action steps, or delete action steps if needed. Steps have been added and no further edits are required, we can issue the resolution letter. Now that we have covered how to add action steps from other cases to our case, you can use this tool to help you save time when completing action steps for similar cases. Let's return to our deck and complete a recap of the previous section. The action plan and resolution letter and their associated screens will be split to only list the forms you are working on for a case to provide more clarity. But the core content on the screens will not be changing. The copy from existing action plan or resolution letter tool will be located on the action plan or resolution letter screen based on the disposition selected. Use this function to import action steps from another case to yours without overwriting your action steps. In this section, we'll cover various documents and forms that will be updated in this release. The public log report and the receipt confirmation of reconsideration will both have minor changes. The Protective Services Request Form will serve as a new form in HCSIS outlining protective actions needed for a case. You'll be able to view this form as a PDF from the Notices tab. Let's discuss these forms in more detail, starting with the public log report. You will be able to view the public log report from the Notices screen as a case is updated. Additionally, report fields will be updated to better reflect case statuses available to the public through the report. For example, the final decision date field will be renamed to the decision letter issue date field. Here we have a template for the updated public log report with placeholder information used. The final decision date field has been renamed to decision letter issued date. Additionally, the fields resolution letter issued date, request for reconsideration filed, and outcome of reconsideration have been added to capture outcomes for cases that have a resolution letter rather than an action plan. The receipt confirmation of reconsideration will have updated prompts, and completing it in HCSIS will generate a response to reconsideration letter that is viewable from the Notices screen. The reconsideration outcome fields have been updated so that the decision field is now a dropdown. Additionally, the field deficiencies highlighted in the resolution letter has been renamed to findings to better reflect your workflow. Here, we have a screenshot of the Notices screen with the new response to reconsideration letter highlighted in red. To the right is a redacted version of the letter. This letter is a downloadable PDF from the Notices screen by clicking the PDF icon under the print column. Okay, now let's talk more about the Protective Services Request Form, which is a new document that has been added to HCSIS for you to view. The Protective Services Request Form has been added to HCSIS as a new optional document for all dispositions. The document is created and finalized by the Senior Investigator, or Central Office Investigations Management. The area, facility, and regional staff may view the current completed Protective Services Request Form in the Notices tab. You may also view when previous Protective Services Request Forms were created, submitted, and finalized on the switchboard. If previous Protective Services Request Forms exist for different dispositions, they can be found on the historical screen. The Protective Services Request Form would only be sent to DPPC oversight if the case was screened in. The roles that will receive an alert when the Protective Services request form is finalized and can view the document on the notices or historical screens are listed on the bottom of this slide. Please take a moment to review them now. We will now enter HCSIS to view the Protective Services request form. From the switchboard, we can see that this case has two Protective Services request forms. We will navigate to the Notices tab once more to view these forms. We can now click on the PDF icon of the first Protective Services request form to view the form. The form has been pre-populated with test information from the case. The form will be sent from the senior investigator to the area director for the area facility office involved. If we scroll down, we can see the regional director, regional risk manager, director of investigations, deputy director of investigations, the investigator, and DPPC oversight will also receive the form. The form outlines the need for protective actions and who else should be informed of this need. We can now return to the Notices tab to view some of the other available forms on the screen. In addition to the Protective Services request form, we can see other current notices associated with the case we cannot access from the switchboard. In this case, the disposition letter, investigation report, decision letter, action plan/resolution report, and the public log report are all available for us to download. Keep this in mind when you want to access PDF versions of different current forms when they are not available on the switchboard. Let's return to our deck for our next section, which will cover management reports. Let's talk about the new action plan/resolution status report. I'd like to draw your attention to the box on the bottom of this slide. In addition to the Word and PDF files, Excel files have been added as outputs that will have more fields for you to view. The new action plan/resolution status report can be used to identify cases that are at risk for becoming overdue or are past due. You will be able to filter cases based on a variety of criteria, such as case status, due date, and provider. We will generate this report in our upcoming demo to display the filter criteria. The fields displayed in the action plan resolution status report are dependent on whether it is generated as a Word, PDF, or Excel file. The Excel format includes additional data fields as shown in the yellow box to the right, and the fields are included in all reports are listed in the blue box to the left. Now let's generate the action plan/resolution status report in HCSIS. From the home screen, you would click on the QM tab, followed by the Reports subtab. Within the Reports tab, we would click Investigations to expand its module-specific reports. Listed are the reports you will be able to generate, along with a description detailing what information the report will contain. Let's go ahead and generate the action plan/resolution status report. On this screen, we can select the filter criteria for our report. The only mandatory field is the report format. If you use the date range filter, the date range cannot exceed 1 year for the report. I'll go ahead and generate the report for a range of February 1st, 2023 to March 1st, 2023. I could also select other filterable fields to narrow down my report. We could use the field include overdue only to include only overdue cases. So in this case, we will select yes from the dropdown. And for our report format, we will select an Excel and click View Report. We already have the report open in browser, so we'll go ahead and click that versus the one that we have just downloaded. For the Excel version, we can see the case log number, alleged victim, case date, disposition, decision letter date, finding, action plan due date, action plan issue date, days overdue, the action plan finalized date, the provider's name, the responsible site, and the area office for each case that met our filter criteria. This will be especially useful when you are narrowing down cases that are overdue, especially if you select that filter. Now let's return to the deck to discuss the updates to the investigations case listing report. The investigations case listing report is available to view for area and facility and regional staff. It will receive updates to the filter criteria to better hone in on your requested data. The filter responsible site address will be added to the report, where you can filter by site and view all cases that met your search criteria at that location. Just like with the action plan/resolution status report, the fields you'll be able to view vary based on the report format selected. Here, selecting the Excel format will enable you to view decision letter date, action plan or resolution letter due date, as well as the disposition date. Moving on, we will discuss next steps and wrap up our training. We will now talk about key dates regarding the changes to the system and review what we've learned today. The new system changes we have covered in this training will take effect on April 28th, 2023. Cases created on or after April 28th will utilize the new HCSIS features we discussed during this training. You will not have to take action in HCSIS prior to the system changes going live. However, reviewing the communications that were sent out and reference materials like this PowerPoint and user guides may help you in your transition to the updated system. The new enhancements will only be applicable to cases created on or after April 28th. As we discussed, the intake and case search screens will be combined into a single screen. Search criteria within the combined intake/case search screen will reflect the ability to search for intakes and cases. The switchboard for cases created before April 28th will continue to use the pre-go live screen pathway. Cases created on or after April 28th will use the updated screen pathway. The updated pathway is what we saw within HCSIS with a series of tabs related to the documents and forms for a case. The following screens will maintain the pre-go live templates, prompts, screen pathways, or documents displayed if the case was created prior to April 28th. These include the Stage 1 and Stage 2 letters, notices, intake details, disposition, investigation report, the investigations checklist, and the principal summary screen. You will not be alone in navigating the system after go live. Help desk representatives are available to ensure your issues are heard and properly addressed by a HCSIS business analyst. They will be able to help you work through system errors or answer your questions about the system. Emailing the help desk is the best way to reach them and document your request so a business analyst can be assigned to assist you. Take note of the help desk phone, email, and the hours of operations, which are 6 a.m. to midnight, Monday to Friday, and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the weekends. Valuable reference material regarding changes to this release and general information about HCSIS can be found within the Help tab in HCSIS. Click the Help tab and select the reference material you wish to view. This will download the file locally to your computer or open it in your browser. You will also have the option to save any of these files to your computer to access them more conveniently later on. This training has been recorded so you may view it at a later date. To view this recording, visit the DDS Learning website for a collection of trainings related to this release and past releases. Let's review some of the key activities from today's training webinar. We built an understanding of new screens, such as the intake/case search screen and the administrative review extension screen. We utilized reports, such as the action plan/resolution status report and the investigations case listing report. We discerned and learned about different go-live scenarios and how to prepare for them. We identified resources together to understand the HCSIS system and where you can find them. And again, noted that the new system changes will launch on April 28th, 2023. This concludes our training today. Thank you for listening to today's training, and we hope you have a wonderful day.